Hold on to your drinks, ladies. Here we go.
Lisa, salud.
Salud.
We
Salud.
got this, guys.
Salud.
Sound like a man
Let's do
myself.
this.
Welcome back to another episode of Team A Unfiltered, the space where we talk real, laugh loud, and unpack the things that we grew up with, whether we ask for them or not. We talked about us being women with the culture and traditions on our last episode.
And today we're diving into something every Latino household knows too well.
Fact. I agree. Some things were beautiful, some things were chaotic, and some things were absolutely not worth taking into the future.
All right, guys, we're talking about the values, the rituals, the food, the rules, the superstitions, all of it. What shaped us, what stuck with us, and what we're leaving respectfully in the past.
So grab your drinks, your memories, and maybe your chocolate trauma, because today we're going to break down what our culture and traditions look like growing up and how it made us who we are today.
This is Team A Unfiltered. Let's get into it. So today we're diving into the cultures that we grew up with. First, the traditions that we inherited and which ones we still up today. So what is culture? Culture can be defined as customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So this leads to my first question. What cultural values shaped your family?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take that one. I do believe my family was traditional. The guys played outside. I remember my dad had a GTO and an Impala. And I remember he'd get all the boys outside, show them screws, nuts, bolts. And I would come out there thinking I was going to learn. And he'd send me right back inside and say, no, you can't learn this. And I would go in crying. I want to be with my brothers. I want to be outside with my dad. And I think just knowing that was a traditional thing, like earlier we said, women were inside. We cooked, we cleaned, we washed clothes. The guys took the trash out. They did the lawn. So I believe that my family was definitely traditional in that sense.
I'll say that, like with my family, we had some aspects that were traditional. However, I feel like we have, I don't know what the right word is, adapted, because we've gotten older and, uncles and aunts older too. And so we were very traditional. And I feel like we've kind of, shifted to be a little bit modern. To connect with what you said, Francis, my dad, he was a mechanic or is a mechanic. And so he didn't have any sons. So I got to learn those things, which is why, when we needed to change your tire, I was right there under your car,
Yeah.
But, when I say we've kind of adapted to modern, when I think about Christmas, when I was younger, because we had the energy then, we were, opening our gifts at midnight. And now because everybody, the family has expanded, everybody has other families, to go to, their spouse's family. Now it's like, okay, hey, let's open them at 8:00 and, we're done. And others are getting to the families where they still hold the tradition of opening gifts at midnight, because my husband's family does that.
Right,
So.
right. Going back to that flat, see, Dad, you should have taught me. I could have saved us that day. I would have had a new name behind me.
Okay, so do you feel like those traditions were non-negotiable growing up?
I don't think it was non-negotiable because, again, I think when I think about my childhood, and so I loved being outside. So if my dad was out there working on cars, I wanted to be out there. I wanted to learn those things. He didn't expect me to learn it, but I wanted to. And then especially, when we think about the non-negotiable with Christmas, I think maybe it was non-negotiable, right? But I think the tias and tios got to, a little older. and it's like, okay, we're tired. We got a long drive home, things like that. Because, my aunt and uncle where we host Christmas, they live far. And so it's about an hour drive. So that's another reason. And, like my grandparents got older and it was a lot on them. So it was non-negotiable. Now it's just kind of like, who can make it, and the family's forgiving for those that can't.
And so did you guys have any traditions that were non-negotiable growing up?
Actually, yeah, us with Christmas as well. Like Marcus and I both have families who believed in the midnight opening gifts, right? So Marcos and I, for at least a good 10 to 15 years of our relationship, we were actually in the car driving back and forth to Grand Prairie, Mansfield, back to Grand Prairie, to Grand Prairie, back to Mansfield, to Grand Prairie. Like, it was just like a constant go. The great thing about it is that Marcos's parents, his family, the way that they do gifts is they go start from youngest to oldest, and there's 10 of us, and it's one gift at a time, right? So what we did was we started with my family first, midnight, boom, open those gifts, nobody even know what you got, leave, bye, thank you, go to Marcos's family. For start the youngest, we're like second to the youngest, and then we just keep going every night. The great thing about it, even though me not being able to not be with my family and Marcos not being able to not be with his family, my mom actually changed to where Christmas Eve we spend with Marcos's family and Christmas Day we spend with her, so that we don't miss Christmas. Like, you're not missing Christmas. It's not something that you have no say. Still, I'm 40 something years
40
old.
something. There you go.
And I would never dare think not to miss Christmas.
I always tell myself, instead of getting presents, why don't I like take the girls to Vegas or take them somewhere for
The
Christmas?
experience.
Right, the experience. But I'm afraid to even test that water because somebody will say, "Well, why you weren't there last Christmas?" And you'll hear all about it all throughout the rest of the year. Well, Francis wasn't there at Christmas time. You know what I'm saying? So, do you want to go through that torment all year long because you missed Christmas?
Yeah.
You know.
Church was definitely non-negotiable for me as well. Like, my mom is very religious, so she definitely made us go every Sunday, and especially Christmas, like holiday or Christmas, Easter.
Yeah, you could
we
miss
always
church
had to.
like I don't know how many weeks or how many months, but you needed to be there on Christmas.
Oh yeah, Easter, Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was negotiable for us. Okay, so what do you name one tradition that you absolutely hated as a kid?
For me, it was the greeting. Every time we got together with family members, it was basically my parents made sure we're greeting every single adult. And of course, like, the kids are there and stuff, but it was a greeting. And in my family, it was a kiss to the cheek, or some kind of, acknowledgement that, we're there, and then also leaving. So we cannot leave the function or the event until we greet everyone goodbye. So that can be very time consuming because I have a very big family. So you got to time yourself, when you want to leave, because you got to plan like 30 minutes to greet everyone goodbye before you could actually leave. So
I think almost all Latinos can definitely relate on that one. The big families, the multiple, like,
Goodbyes.
yes,
photos.
definitely.
Yeah. Joe, I was going to ask you, you were saying that that's how we grew up, greeting people, hugging people, and that's the way that we all know how. But there was I don't know if it was on social media, I don't know if it was on the news, I don't know where I read it, but there was this one parent who was saying, there's no reason for me to force my son or my daughter to hug people they don't know, regardless if they're my brother or my sister, and they're like long distance. Like, I'm not going to make them feel uncomfortable in that way. Like, how do you handle that with Dom?
yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate that Dom has the personality to be very open, and he's a hugger like me, but you have to just read their personality, like whether they are comfortable to hug someone or not. So, as a parent, you talk to your child and just, let them know, like, hey, but you acknowledge is what it really comes down to. Just acknowledge that, you're there, and then acknowledge that you're leaving. But yeah, you just got to read your child.
You read the room.
And, and what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely. My kids, I just let them, like, I take the cue from them. I can tell when, like, they see someone like Jolene that they know, and they know that we're good friends, and they, they'll run up, Gigi will run up to her and hug her. Like, but if I'm okay with them just greeting somebody as well, like, as far as like the hugging, that's only if they feel comfortable.
It's just so crazy because I know growing up, for me, I didn't have a choice. I needed to go give a hug. Like, my mom wasn't reading the room. She wasn't reading anything. She's just like, go over there and say hi. That's so and so. You're like, okay. Like, you have no idea where they are. So just times are just so different right now.
And I'm like a hugger, so it wasn't even until, like, I guess later in life as an adult that I realized too that some people don't like to be hugged. So, just kind of taking the cues from there as well, because I have friends one time that I accidentally hugged her, and she doesn't really like to, and she was a little bit nervous, like, kind of,
Yeah.
telling me like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really like to be hugged, and like I had to make sure that I, didn't get offended by that. I was just more like, okay, that's what she's comfortable with. And so now when I see her, like I definitely stop myself every time because I'm like going in front. I'm like, oh wait,
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, how are you? Like talking to her. So.
As we're talking about this, I know it's funny. Sorry, Lisa, but Lisa just still does not give me like the hugger vibes. If like you see her and you want to go up to her to hug her, like somebody's just gonna go up to hug her, like Lisa's face will show like, I'm not trying to hug you. I don't know why. I do not know why. I don't know why that just happened.
Burn.
A hugger.
I don't know. I know you're well, you just said you think.
Yes, I will say she is, just because of the fact that if there's anyone that's not, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
Jeanette.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
and I
not.
didn't know that.
And it's not that I don't like to be hugged. It's, to give you an example, like one of my students, former students, these were adult college students, right? She's like, if I went up to you, I feel like you just stand there and just like let me hug you. And I was like, well, no, I wouldn't do that. But,
Yeah, you would. And it's to protect yourself.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? You're a teacher. You have to have a boundary.
Well, I mean, in that case, yes, I was an instructor. And again, she was an adult student, but she just was basically just trying to say, like, that's just kind of the vibe that I get. She's like,
Okay.
I know you're loving and everything to us. Like, you're a nurse, a psychologist, you're a counselor,
Tell
you're
it,
all
girl,
of these
tell
things
it.
to us. But I just feel like that is something that you're not comfortable with. And I said, you're right. I'm not, And the reason I say that is because, there was one time, it was actually at my 40th birthday party, and Lisa was going through some things, and she was like, can I have a hug? And she shouldn't have had to ask me. Like, I should have been the
Aw.
best friend and
Yeah.
just given her a hug. And the thing is it's not that I don't want to. It's just, if I go back to like the way that I was raised or something. No, I did not tell you no. I gave you a hug.
Now, I
But-
remember I was there.
But it's the
I
fact
was
that
there.
it's the fact that you had to ask, like me, that should have come out of me. You know what I mean? And I do try and pick up on that, but it's just I'm not.
Wait, so like for family, you don't hug? Or
No, I
missed that
do.
part.
I
Okay.
do. But again, I think that's because that's my family
Your
and I'm
family.
comfortable
Yeah,
around
yeah.
them. And yes, you guys too. But it's not something that's gonna come first to mind. So like if one of you guys were crying, I'd be like, you're good. I mean, I want to be comforting, but that's where y'all gotta turn to Mama Christie. Because that's not me.
That's
Like
why we all play.
I'm gonna be like, whose ass do I gotta go kick?
Yeah,
You know?
that's right. Love it. Love it. I love that. I love that.
Lisa, stop looking at me like that. This whole time Jeanette's been talking, Lisa has not paid attention to anything you said. She's been eyeballing me.
Because I feel like if anyone's not a hugger, it's you, Miss Germaphobe.
Holy-
So
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I guess I didn't look at Jeanette that way because I've always known her and her family to always hug. Like that's just a thing with you.
But because I hug you too. Because I hug you too.
Lisa,
My
I just
listeners,
said
I wish
that
y'all
I
knew what
feel
we were
that
looking at.
outside
you
of us, our
wouldn't
family.
like to hug anybody, and you would very openly express it.
I mean, I still would. It may not be like it'd be a half-assed hug.
I
right?
think after this, we all need a hug.
Everyone that's
Yeah.
all hug Jeanette.
All of us hug. Not just the
What is it for trolls? So I didn't mean to like get us off track. It was just kind of one of those things that you would have probably been a kid that was like, I'm not trying to hug you.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know you.
DB in the house.
I would have taken that from Jeanette because I know Jeanette when she was growing up. Like,
Well,
from-
Jeanette's not the hugger.
yeah, and I didn't know.
I did not either. Yeah, I did not know about that about you.
I am a hugger, and I've known you for so long.
Yeah.
So-
We learn something new about her every episode.
I know.
Okay, so we definitely got off
Yeah, we did.
there, but I'm glad that we had the hug conversation.
Yeah.
Right, now I'm just gonna throw you on the peace sign when I see y'all. What up? What's up?
So going back to, culture, what's tradition that you now appreciate as an adult?
Hugging.
I would say family gathering,
Yeah.
like when you think of like family unity, family gatherings, because I think When I think about when I was younger, it's like, okay, it's get up, we're going here, you know. But even like my kids, when they were younger, like, do we have to go? Do we have to go? And I was like, yes, we have to go, and everybody's gonna go, and we're gonna go as a family, right? And now that, you know, Noah's older and he's an adult, he's like, okay, well, what are we doing? Where are we getting together? So it's like that's been instilled in him. So again, just going back to what your question was, is, you know, family gatherings.
I agree. I feel like as an adult, we don't even like today, like I just don't do that enough. Back in the day, our parents took the time and sacrificed to take us to their siblings' house all the time. Like, God, how can they do that? I mean, and I appreciate it because I got, you know, to know my cousins like they're my siblings, but I wish I could do that more today than, you know, how my parents in the past. And I
It's
just
not as cheap anymore.
That's fair, girl. But I appreciate that much more as an adult. You know,
I agree. I definitely would say that mine's big family gatherings. Like just growing up, I remember being really happy all the times I was with all my cousins. And like my family is actually full of girls. So I have a lot of girl cousins that are around my age. So just, you know, no, growing up, those are my happy times, like being at those family gatherings and having food. Like
Yes,
always
exactly.
big fiestas, I guess you would say.
and we put on shows in our family. We always had shows. Like the girls would put shows. So we do dancing shows or a movie. Like we'll have like a movie and we'll like my brother would like conduct it. We're like, okay, you played this part. So we'll make a film. Yeah, we'll make a film. Yes, yes. But it was a lot of dancing and just like, you know, singing to songs and stuff and just having a really good time.
We
you
need
know,
those
so-
videos. We can create
Oh, yeah.
reels.
Probably can.
How fun. You know, even
I was
though
going to say, I'm in the wrong family. Joe.
So this leads into our next topics. Some of us were born within mixed diversities and some have married outside our race, which has brought different cultural traditions into our homes. So how would you say, like, how has this affected you as a person growing up between cultures or affected your traditions within your family?
For me, I have my mom who's Hispanic, my dad is white. So there's a lot of things where my dad didn't allow us to do. And then when my dad did leave, it was just my mom. So with her being the only parent, she was the one working. We all shared the same like chores and stuff. So she didn't make it more of a gender role type deal. But we do recognize or see in our other family that there are gender roles. Like the husband, the father always worked, the mom stayed home, but my mom never had that privilege. And I mean, it could be because she married outside her race.
I can definitely see
so
how growing up Latino, you a lot of times, like, you know, you are in the kitchen cooking and doing that. So
So I married outside my race. He's Native American. And I feel like had I married a Hispanic man, maybe it would have been different. We had back-to-back babies at one point, and I was the one that went to work. He stayed home, went to school, watched the kids.
So you still have that tradition, having back-to-back babies.
Yeah.
You get that part in there. Go girl.
Good one, friend. Good one. Had it been a Hispanic man, maybe
In a different
it would have been a
situation.
different situation.
Yeah.
I probably would have been the one that probably would have had to stay home with the kids or whatever. But I met my husband in the Air Force, and they had never met him. And you remember the show TRL? We were on that show, and that's the first time they saw him. And so they thought he was black, and I'm like, but he's not. And so like my dad he just told me for, I would say a day. He talked to me for a whole day, and I'm like, but he's
That's
not.
my word, girl. It was like 5 months for me.
And so it changed definitely my like religion, traditional religion. We were Catholic, and he's not. So we had to, change that. I changed my religion, and it's just different. I think it changed marrying outside of my race.
How did your dad get over it? I mean, you said a day, and clearly it wasn't probably a day, but I mean,
just had
it
to
was
tell him
He's Native American.
he's Native American. I don't know. I think he just got over it because
He saw you were happy. He honored that. I married out of my race, I would say, even though Eric would claim his half Mexican side of himself. He's more white than Mexican. But my dad was okay with it. Like I remember asking him a long time ago, are you okay if I date and, marry out of our race? If I bring a black guy home? He's like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. So I was very fortunate in that fact. But with Eric, we were going about the traditions, right?
yeah.
he didn't have a big family, like, at all. And so, like, just him being around my family, how our families are really big, he just appreciated that more, just, that family time and, like, connecting and, growing his community around that. So it was just really nice to see. But
And that's like the traditional dad, like my dad was a traditional man. And so if you had that same issue, that's just how they were, right?
Right, right. I definitely did marry out of my race. I think the topic earlier was about religion, and I feel like I'm into God and religion, but I was trying to be Muslim for a moment, and then I fell in love and became Baptist. So even though I feel strong about the Catholic religion, I feel like even if I just go to church, I still believe in God in that sense. But going back to just dating out of your race, it is something that you've got to instill differently into your children and your family. Because my family's big in sports, and they'll cuss all day long and call the wrong names, and everybody's looking at each other like, "Oh, well, you need to come down with that word." Or so it has changed our aspects of Sunday football or basketball or baseball, whatever the case is. With me, I just feel like because Brandon has passed away, rest his soul, I feel like I want to still instill into my kids, that side, that culture, that value.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want them to feel like, oh, they just know, the Hispanic culture or quinceañeras. I want them to know 16ers, I want them to know certain things of that aspect just so they can be open minded as well. I think that's just the main key right now. Is just trying to be open minded.
Didn't you say Brandon's mom took you guys somewhere?
Yeah. This past summer we went on a 10-day tour reclaiming the throne, which is on YouTube, and it teaches you about the African American and their culture and what happened to them all these years. And we got to do that, and that was really neat. My girls were a little upset, like, why do we gotta learn this? And I'm like, because this is a part of your history. I would want you to know, about the Spanish tradition or, you know, who conquered who or whatever the case is. But it is important to know your past so you can fix your future.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
I definitely think that it's affected my family, as far as I married outside of my race as well. My husband's white, and so like my kids are half, and there's a big difference in our family traditions, like our Hispanic side and then his side, specifically like around holidays. Like we were talking about the big family gatherings with Hispanics, like I always know our Easter, Christmas, all my cousins, everyone being out there, big meals, like, it's a big fiesta, a big party. And, when we spend holidays with his side of the family, he just, had a very small family, and it's a sit down, nice dinner. Like, everyone's, the fancy china's out, like, it's quiet because there's only 6 people at the table.
I don't think I've ever had a Christmas like that. I don't know what to do.
Right. You can hear the fork hitting the plate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
See?
And and we're eating different food too. Like, his mom always does a great job when she's hosting. They do all appetizers on Christmas Eve. So it's like,
So you're still hungry.
but it's like, shrimp and bruschetta and like all these little tapas style, I guess you could say, which is, just a bunch of like appetizers.
Yeah.
And then, with my family with Christmas, it's a big feast,
Yeah.
We have so much food that we're eating on it for like 2 or 3 days. And sometimes that's the intention because we're like, okay, we need to have leftover ham for ham and eggs tomorrow. And so that's probably like the biggest difference, like with my, the cultural traditions that I have and what my kids are, because it's different for them. They have 2 sides.
It truly is different on the food. I had turkey.
What?
It's a duck and a turkey together.
No.
And it is amazing. It's like
Yes,
it's like biochemistry did some work on that.
Yeah, I think it's called a turducken.
Thank you, sweetheart. I love that you correct me nicely. I think it's called turducken.
in my mind, I know I was like, bitch, what's a turkey? She done made shit up.
Just tell me what I was talking about. Maybe I'll think you want to get a white family. y'all better stop having those Mexican fiestas. So ducking, chicken calamari.
Oh my god. So, so since we were talking about, mixed marriages, mixed families, I wanted to touch up on like bicultural identity. One thing specifically, sometimes since I don't know Spanish, it's kind of hard for me and to explain to people, or just understanding like, oh, well, you're Hispanic. Well, not every Mexican or Hispanic knows Spanish. And that's something that I haven't even passed on to my kids because I don't know Spanish, so they don't know Spanish,
Yeah, it's sad. I think I've gotten away with not knowing Spanish and being okay with it because I don't look Hispanic. I don't look Latin. Like, I got that Asian look in me, so I'm clear, right?
You got lucky.
Yeah, I did get lucky because I know nothing. Zero.
I had my college professor tell me it was a shame for me to be Latina and know Spanish.
Oh, well,
Like literally.
No sapo kid.
Yeah, I was a no sapo.
No sabo.
Oh, that's it.
And sabo, just so you know, is a frog.
Like the song?
Supple.
Oh, that was about a frog?
Yeah. The same thing happened to me as a kid. I remember this memory. This memory isn't snowed in my head. I remember my mom taking me to Fiesta, Texas, in San Antonio, and we were taking a break from like rides and walking and stuff. So we were all sitting around a fountain, and I think she like got up to get something or do something, and there was this old Hispanic lady sitting next to me, and I remember her talking to me in Spanish, and I was like, looked at her, and I was like, I don't know Spanish. And she told me the same thing. And then she told me in English, what do you mean you don't know Spanish? Are you Mexican? And I was like, yes. And she's like, you should be ashamed of yourself that you don't know Spanish.
Right,
It
right.
stuck with me for a long time. And, I never told my mom about it either until I was like older. Like, I didn't think
Your
to
mom
tell
would have
her.
fought her.
You know
Would
what?
have fought
She's
her.
from East Dallas. She probably would have.
Yeah.
But, but it stuck with me for a very long time.
Right.
Like, I mean, looking back as an adult, I would never tell a little child, like, I mean, I had to have been maybe 7, 8 years old
Right.
to say that. And so, yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me give you a hug.
It's funny because of the group, I guess I could say I'm one of the ones that's probably the most fluent in Spanish, right?
So you have it on your resume. It's on my resume too.
You said you're bilingual?
Yes, I does. And
The
no
yes,
sapo kid.
the yes, I does. But that being said, the one thing that I don't know if you guys know is I didn't actually start speaking Spanish until I started teaching.
I don't believe that. I thought it was in your DNA.
New fun fact about Jeanette.
3 things today.
Yeah. So what you said earlier was, I understand it, so you can speak to me. So I understood, but I didn't actually start speaking because I just felt embarrassed to speak it in front of people.
And you probably speak it proper, right?
And also Adam speaks it
Well,
fluently.
and so I guess that's where I was going to go with my next point, because Adam is very fluent in Spanish. His parents are very fluent in Spanish. So because I know that I didn't actually start speaking it, like verbally speaking it, because I had to teach kids in Spanish, I feel like a little intimidated or maybe sometimes insecure when I'm speaking Spanish to them, because I feel like maybe they're more grammatically correct. Because,
Oh, yeah, you better come correct with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Not just because of your in-laws, but no, seriously.
yeah, so I didn't actually start speaking it, but I am a lot more comfortable now because of having to teach kids. And I think that's what helped too, because I was reading in Spanish, I was writing in Spanish, and so now it's just
Did your parents speak to you Spanish?
no.
Yeah,
And the only
See?
Spanish that I would
That's
speak, so my grandparents spoke Spanish, right? But they were very fluent in English. Like, you wouldn't know that Spanish was their first language. So I could talk to them in English, no problem. It was my dad's parents that, I mean, we never hung out with my dad's family. So, I mean, I didn't really have to use the Spanish.
Yeah, I always ask my mom too, like, why is it that, like, you didn't teach any of your kids, like any of us, how to speak Spanish? All of my mom's sisters, there's 4 or 5, I don't know how many there are. And then my uncle, none of us know Spanish except for one cousin. And that's because her dad actually is from Mexico. She was taught that from her dad. But my mom told me, and I don't know, this lady be making up some stories, but she did tell me that one of the reasons why she never really spoke Spanish to us was they weren't allowed to speak Spanish in their house because my grandparents only allowed them to speak English. And I don't really know why, but I think I've heard some of us in conversations talking about how, like, I guess it was shameful to. I don't know.
No,
I
but
just know
one thing
what the reason would be.
One thing that I would say is thinking about your mom's background, because I do know, like, she was in education in the school system, and obviously so was my mom. The one thing that I think they wanted to prevent was us being labeled as bilingual, because that would put us in another class, right? Like, it would put us in another class versus like the general education class.
The ESL class? They would put you in an ESL.
Yeah, if you listed Spanish as your first language, or just that you were bilingual, you weren't going to.
You were in Miss Martinez's class.
See, I didn't know why they wouldn't allow it, but that makes sense.
Yeah, because Adam knew both, and when he was younger, and I think the same for my brother-in-laws, I think they all said the same thing, because they did grow up speaking Spanish. They put them in ESL classes, and unfortunately, again, because I know the education background, there was never a proper system for teaching bilingual kids. It wasn't until I think I actually started teaching when, they had like a dual language program. And I mean, I'm all for that, because again, I taught that system. But it just seemed like these kids were, falling behind. And I don't know if this is getting us off topic, but to answer your question of, I think that might be one of the reasons why we did not grow up speaking Spanish.
Well, so for me, my dad, is from Peru. He spoke, really proper Spanish. My mom is Chicana. She speaks Spanglish. So for me, like in my household, my dad's like, my mom tried to teach us, but she would say words, and my dad's like, that's not the right way to say it. If you can't teach them the proper way to say, speak Spanish, don't teach them at all. So none of our siblings, spoke Spanish in the household, but we all learned it. Veronica's like completely fluent. My brother, is good. I can get by. Like my go-to is like, yo entiendo más que hablo. And they're like, oh yeah, sí hablas. I'm like, yeah, but whenever you keep talking, like, muy despacio, por favor. I want to speak it fluent like Veronica. I'm just not there yet, but it's just practice. Like being around people and, hearing it all the time. And that's why I feel like Adam, like in his family, you probably hear it a lot more than our family, because the family members, like we just all speak English. But if I heard it more, like when I lived in Peru, I heard it, I was able to absorb it and learn. I had to learn it. Like if I wanted to speak with my family, I had to speak it, so that really, like, absorbing myself into that environment helped me, like, speak those words a little bit better. But now I just forget.
It's also kind of embarrassing though, like for me, like I would want to say a word, because I think I'm like, okay, yes, I know how to respond back to that. And I'm like, oh no, they're gonna say I sound horrible. Like I don't want somebody to come back and be like, what did you just say?
Yeah, I think the one that always gets people tripped up is like if they're trying to, like right now, embarrassing.
Yeah.
How do you think you would say that?
What the? I don't know.
Because most people people would be like, embarazada, and that's pregnant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now vergüenza.
Me tengo vergüenza. Yeah, me tengo vergüenza.
Yeah, so that's, you
don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going to come out.
No sabo.
No sapo. It's sapo.
No, have to talk about this. Like, I just learned what a no sabo kid is.
Yeah, please explain that to listeners that are, maybe there's other listeners that don't know.
One of my good friends who I love her, but she's so rural too. And she told me, because sometimes she forgets I don't know Spanish. She talks to me in Spanish. And instead of like stopping her, I just listen and and I can't actually understand a little bit, but she usually catches on after like a minute when I'm just nodding and not responding. Oh shit, I forgot you don't know Spanish. And then so she finally told me about this no sabo. She's like, you're no sabo kid. I was like, there's a word for that. I was like, what is that? And she was like, it means you don't know shit. And
well, not in those terms.
That's what she told me. So I was like, Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm a no salvo kid. Because when it comes to Spanish, I mean, but I can actually understand a little bit. But going back to your point, I don't, if I'm not around it a lot, like it's like less in between that I actually can understand what you're saying.
Well, I think that's where I get the practice from. So, me practicing my Spanish on my in laws, it's like, well, they kind of want me to speak to them in English because they want to practice their English. But I'm like, well, that's where I get my Spanish practice.
Yeah.
Talking to you.
No me hables en español, por favor.
So that was good, Joe.
I'm telling you.
And you even got a little accent,
I mean, right.
right?
That's why they keep on like talking to me. I'm like, wait, no, don't keep talking. Don't keep talking. Wait.
I can see the expression. I'm like, what you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
I just have to point this out in case you don't remember. Like, so I did take Spanish in high school to try to learn it. And then again in college. And I had never failed a class in college. And then
Clearly you didn't pass it either.
Spanish, oh gosh, I hate to admit this too. So Spanish, I was failing, and my Hispanic teacher felt really bad for me because I was Mexican and didn't know Spanish. So the last 2 weeks of school, she told me if I could finish everything in the assignment book and submit everything, she would, 2 weeks after the class finished, so she basically gave me like 3 weeks, I think, that she would pass me. And again, I had never failed a college class. So I tried to do like the first two, and then I called Jolene and she did.
I do not remember it, but I was.
Jolene's the reason that I passed college Spanish.
Yeah.
You know what? That's funny. Nate's told me that story before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's so funnier? Miss Marino. Do y'all remember Miss Marino or Miss Moreno in high school? She was a Spanish teacher.
I had Miss Miracle.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
I had Miss Moreno.
Miss Fuller.
Marianne Marino. That was her mom, Marianne Marino.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yes.
So she was giving me a C on a test one time, and I'm like, oh no, ma'am, you're not giving me a C because I'm hard on my A's, especially in Spanish. And I argued it, and I'm like, this is wrong. Like, do I need to bring my dad up here? I'm gonna bring my daddy up there. But she's like, no, I'll change it. I forgot what it was, like what conjugation she was trying to make me make, and I was like, no, you're wrong. Like, this is what I learned. And
Well,
whatever
you tell Miss Moreno you still know.
And yeah, but
Tu hablas. Tu hablamos. You tell her you still know all of that.
But she was really hard on me. So I whenever I'm trying to learn Spanish, I try to learn it, my best. But whenever I'm speaking it, me tengo vergüenza. Right? Like I have such I'm very embarrassed. I'm embarrassed saying words, and I forget
I don't
the
think
words.
you should. I think you're really good. If I was in Spanish class, I'd cheat off of you.
Right. You know what? It's also has helped me with Duolingo because I can actually read Spanish pretty well.
And my first semester Spanish teacher did my second semester homework for me.
What? Were you having sex with him? Don't be lying. That's what I'm talking about.
Gosh, we learned so much about each other this episode.
Yeah,
seriously.
that's good.
So
Throughout the whole episodes.
yeah, that definitely leads up to this next part. So just for fun, we're going to go round table real quick, and it's called Growing Up Latina. So everyone go around individually, and growing up Latina, I learned, and you guys say what you learned.
So, growing up Latina, I learned that the parties are for the adults, not necessarily the kids. So,
Yes.
Like to speak to that, quinceañeras.
I like those little memes when they got the little Mexican kids sleeping on the chairs.
Like
And
in
they
the
say-
Bad Bunny Super Bowl.
Right. And then they wonder why they don't wake up for the alarm.
That's right.
Band's playing, everybody's dancing, the baby's just sitting there chilling.
I think
Yeah.
every
Sleeping.
Hispanic can relate to that one, sitting on the chairs at the parties.
Yeah,
That was fun.
exactly.
Well, growing up Latina for me was don't you misbehave in church at all.
Yes.
You just don't do that. It's something about, even though God forgives, your parents don't at that moment.
Growing up Latina, I learned to say every one of my kids' names before I get to the one that I meant.
Yes.
And what I did not learn was to the tortillas with my hands.
Oh, girl. Let's still work on that, though. Let's still work on that. Yes.
Let that be a new year, new you.
2026, you're learning how to flip tortillas.
So for me, growing up, Latina met, like, I guess examples of what I've learned is how to separate the beans, the rocks out of the beans, because I think I had to do that like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
What if you accidentally put a rock though?
It's okay as long as I didn't eat it. We were good.
Flavor. It's extra flavor.
What I should have learned, but I didn't learn, was never leaving the house with makeup and your hair fixed. Oh my God.
My grandmother's big on that one.
My mom.
You better fix your face before you leave the house.
Yeah.
Well, growing up Latina, I learned being loud does not always mean you're mad. We're just passionate about what we say. We talk loud. We're just yes. We're happy. We're just vibing. That's how we vibe. But we're not always mad when we're loud.
Yeah.
It's some expression.
Yes.
Growing up Latina, you knew you were in trouble when you were being called by your full government name.
Yeah.
Middle and last.
Yeah.
Government name was no joke.
Yes.
So for me, growing up Latina, I learned to run when my mom was leaning over reaching for her chancla because that was my head start. You got like, I better get going now so that hopefully I can dodge it.
Well, you must have been fast because sometimes they were wearing them.
That's true.
I'm just confused where to throw it at. They knew you were running towards that way, so they're
Like, have you seen them memes with the people with the chancla and they never miss? Like that chancla never misses.
I don't hit my kids with chocolate, but let me pick that chocolate. I bet I'll aim.
I don't miss. I'll tell you that.
I got my son the other day because he said something smart to me, and I looked at him and I told him, like, hey, son, I'm a modern mom. I'm not going to throw a chancla on. I got a Birkenstock on, and that's going to hurt a lot more than the chomp I'm throwing at you.
That's up your stick.
Yeah. So now to all of our listeners, I would love to know what you learned growing up specific to your culture. So drop those into our comments, and maybe we can talk about them next time. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on today's episode. We laughed, we dragged our childhoods a little bit, and we honor the pieces of our culture that still live in us today.
Remember, you're allowed to evolve. You can love your roots and still choose the traditions that actually fit your life today.
And if you're keeping the food tradition but ditching the cleaning before guest tradition, honestly, same.
And make sure to share this episode with your cousins, your tias, your group chat, whoever it is that you think would enjoy this.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for showing up, and thank you for being a part of this unfiltered family. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode that you don't want to miss.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.